Right, so it's been quite a while since the last video. I think it's been actually a week now. I know, I think I said in the last video I was going to make the next one in the car, but that didn't happen. And Mina kind of said that we should when we were driving up, but I was like, nah, let's just drive. So the trip went really well, but that's not the important part. Let's talk about last Tuesday, which was day number 2 of month number 6. So today was Monday, November 28th. It was the first day back, so it's gonna, if I'm like, kind of having to think here for a minute, it's because I'm having to think way back to Tuesday. But no, I think it was a pretty good day. I had my first digital audio and theory lecture that day, and I'm trying to open up iCal so I can see what time I had it at. Let me see here. So yeah, the first lecture for digital audio and theory was on Tuesday, November 22nd. It was a 1:15 to 5, and it was in the same classroom that I have my MIDI lecture. Excuse me. And sorry if the video paused right there. I'm running online, and I'm not sure if it pauses the videos when I switch screens like that. But no, it was pretty cool. The lecture instructor is actually the head course director for digital audio and theory, and he's an older guy. Not really, but like, I mean, he's in his 40s, 50s. And he seems kind of cool, but he's like kind of straight edge at the same time. Like, he really likes to follow things through to the book. You know what I mean? Like doing rules precisely and stuff. But he really does want us to do well. So it's kind of like, he's cool in the sense that like he cares about us and he wants us to do good. But on the other side, it's like he's really kind of hardcore about the rules and stuff. So it's not bad, but it's not exactly the most fun thing either. So yeah, while it might not be the most fun, I will say it was pretty interesting. We talked about binary numbers and all that kind of crazy stuff. Basically the stuff that we talked about, or that I kind of touched on with the homework. It was, he really shed some light on it, that's for sure. Let's see, like we talked about how to read in binary. Like basically, you have your 1s and your 0s, and your 1 is negative, that means no voltage, and your 0 means it's letting voltage through. Excuse me, damn, I don't know, I'm burping so much. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that the 1 was positive and the 0 was negative, but apparently it's opposite. And yeah, we learned how to read and add numbers in binary, which is pretty cool. What else? Talked about sampling and how that works, like with, well, not sampling, but just digitizing in general. What happens is, like, you'll have your sound wave, and I guess I don't really have anything, but like, you have your squiggly line, and then what happens is, like, you break that up into segments. So basically, it's like, how movies work, with, like, taking a snapshot, like, of so many frames per second. Well, that's essentially what we're doing with the sample. Taking the samples is that the samples are the measured data of where the waveform is at that certain point in time. And unlike film, that can, unless you have a high-speed camera, it's usually 30 frames per second or 24 frames or whatever. Audio samples, I think, usually the lowest that they can go is 44,100 hertz. So the standard sample, I guess the two most standard that you're going to get is your 44.1 kilohertz or your 48 kilohertz. And that's per second, because you have to, in order to play something back with the computer, the sample rate has to be twice the frequency. It's kind of a little confusing, but once you start to use the numbers and stuff, it gets pretty interesting. Um, I mean, it gets easier. Sorry. Yeah, it gets a little easier to understand. So that lecture was all right. I thought it was pretty interesting. I was engaged for the most part. We did stay the whole 4 hours. And that's one thing I'll go ahead and slip in about this month is like digital audio and theory and then MIDI class. So for both the lectures and the labs for both those classes, they're making us stay like the whole 4 hours. So this month, not a whole lot of getting out early. I'll say that much. But the MIDI, gosh, getting ahead of myself. The lecture for DAU last Tuesday was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Interesting concepts and things. Although he was like really adamant about stapling our papers. He was like, we got back from break, and he was like, I made some or he said, what did he say? He says, I made some observations, and you know, when we ask for your papers to be stapled, I don't just mean folding the corners to hold them together. I mean you actually need to staple them. So like, he's really serious about how, like, he'll take points off of your homework if you don't have your paper stapled, which is a bit of a headache for those of us that don't have staplers. So he let some people during break run down to Target and grab some staplers and turn them in afterwards. And I didn't know that until we got back from break. So I was one of the ones that folded the corners because I didn't know what else to do. And I meant to get a stapler over break, but I did not. So tomorrow morning I've got to wake up a little early so I can run down to Target and grab a stapler just to staple my freaking homework to turn it in. I did my homework for Chapter 2 because I have my second lecture tomorrow. But I don't have a freaking stapler. But it's cool. I guess I'll just, it's no big deal. I gotta do it anyway. So, my first digital audio and theory class, not bad. I'm digging it. In fact, it's probably the most important class, that I'll be taking here at Full Sails. Like, if you think about it, like just about everything is digital nowadays, and it's audio. So, I mean, the class title kind of gives it away. It's kind of important. So after that lecture, let's see, I had my first MIDI lab. Now, MIDI lab is pretty cool. I wrote down all of the things, all of the equipment that we're on, and I think I might have shared it with you last time. The Roland Phantom X6, the Cord Triton rack, you can see it right there. I think I did share this, but I'll share it again. And it's seriously this big station that we have, and there's like 20 of them in the whole room, and it's pretty cool. And basically what it is we have this little PDF, and we're on the Apple, the Macs that are there, the desktop Macs that they have, and it's, well, tutorial based. That's what I'm looking for. It's tutorial based, and we just read through this packet and do what it says and follow it and experiment and play with the sounds and stuff. So the majority of MIDI Lab is basically goofing off with all the different sounds, because following the packet's pretty easy, and getting understanding of connections is fairly easy. So it's like, when we stay there for pretty much the whole 4 hours, and they say once you finish the day's lab stuff, like, go on to the next lab's work or whatever. So like, earlier this morning, and I'll get to that in the next video, I'm going to make 2 tonight. Basically, if I were to finish all of Lab 2's material, I'm supposed to move on to Lab 3. But like, I'm wanting to pace myself, so I'm not just wasting time at the end of the month. And so, I'll play around with the sounds for a bit and then work on it, and play with the sounds some more and work on it. And then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and repeat. But the first MIDI lab was pretty cool. It was impressive. Just the equipment we're on. I also had to take the wiring test. We had to do like a basic master-slave wiring, and then we had to do a full handshake wiring, and it was easy. I got 100 on it. And the lady we have this lady that's in there, her name is Miss Sandy, and she's an older lady, but she is really cool. Like, I like Miss Sandy a lot, because she knows her stuff too. Like, you wouldn't think, like, you'd think that she knits sweaters, but no, she does MIDI stuff all day. It's freaking badass. It's pretty cool. I dig it. So MIDI Lab, the first one, was pretty cool. Again, I was digging it. Um, and then, I mean, after that, I think it was around 9 o'clock when I got out of that, and finally got home, and I was able to pack and stuff for the trip. And me and had gotten the clothes all ready to go, and she had her stuff packed. And I mean, at that point, we're pretty much ready to hit the road. She gave me some songs to put on my iPod, because I have like my dad's old 80 gig iPod. And so she's like, alright, I'm just going to put some few essential songs on there, because I only had my music, and of course she wanted some of hers. So I was like, alright, that's cool. So I was finishing getting my stuff ready, and finally it took her like 20, maybe 30 minutes to get those few essential songs on there. And when I went to import it to iTunes, or even just looking at it on my external, she'd given me 12.5 gigs of music. 12.5 gigabytes of music. It was ridiculous. I mean, it almost doubled my library that I did have. But no, it was fun. We had fun driving up, and then it was an awesome vacation. Just I mean, it wasn't all relaxing. There was a little bit of retardedness in there that I had to deal with well, I won't talk about that, but it was, overall, I would say it was an awesome trip. And we got back yesterday on Sunday, which was November 27th. We got back at like midnight or so. And it was about a 14-hour trip, because especially on the way back down, we stopped by Columbia to pick up more of her stuff from South Carolina. But no, we had fun. I mean, it was an awesome trip. It's good to be back home. I'm about to make another video about what today was actually like, being the first day back. And yeah, so I'll tell you what, I will see you in the next part, and we will talk about Monday the 28th, which is month 6, day number 3. Alright, so I'll see you over there.